Hi, good morning. In this session, we are going to discuss about the Agile Scrum methodology. Nowadays, it is one of the important questions in any interview. As a developer, you go for the interview, or as a test engineer, you go for the interview. One of the commonly asked question: do you have any idea about the Agile methodology? Agile methodology is very simple, but different companies different way they are going to customize in order to develop the software application. So Agile is the one of the approach to develop the software applications. Earlier we discussed about the waterfall model, V model. These things we discussed. But whereas waterfall model, V model, these two comes under sequential approach. What is the meaning of sequential approach? One phase activities are completed for whole system, then only they go for the next phase activities to develop application. After requirement phase, we have the design. After design, coding. After coding, testing. Like that. That is a sequential approach. But coming to the agile methodology, it is an incremental and iterative framework approach to develop applications. It is an incremental and iterative framework approach to develop the applications. So incremental means level by level we are going to develop the application. Iterative framework. Whenever we got the change request from the client, we can go back, we can accommodate the change request in the previous portion which you developed. Then we go for the next portion to implement. This is what the iterative framework we are going to call. It is an incremental and iterative framework approach to develop applications. But when you talk about the incremental, we have possibility like this. Application can be developed model by model. One model is implemented, then we go for the next model implementation. But coming to the agile methodology or agile scrum methodology, incremental is not whole system, not whole module, not whole system, not whole module. Module also will be divided into the small pieces. Those pieces, nothing we are going to call sprint, small component of the each module or small component of the application we can call as sprint. Sprint 1, sprint 2, like that we are going to develop. That's the reason that when interviewer will ask the question to you, you have to say that first, what is agile scrum methodology? You can say that it is an incremental and iterative framework approach to develop applications. Okay. How the process here in this agile methodology application is implemented in this approach, application developed in terms of sprints. In terms of sprints, sprint is nothing but a small unit. After development and testing of each sprint, after development and testing of each sprint, that will be given presentation to the stakeholders. Stakeholders is nothing but client, which we are going to call sprint review to get the approval from the client, whether he is satisfied or not, whatever he implemented, and again fund for the next sprint to implement. This is what the basic principle of the agile methodology. In this approach, application developed in terms of sprints. After development and testing of each sprint, that will be given presentation to stakeholders to get an approval before they plan for next sprint implementation. Right. In Agile, the sprint deliverables, Agile deliverables can be expected within a day to maximum 4 weeks of time for testing. As the definition point of, you can say that the sprint duration is going to be within a day to maximum 4 weeks of time. But in practical, in my company, the sprint duration is going to be 15 days. 15, every 15 days, one sprint is going to be expected. These small life cycles, which we are going to follow to develop the each sprint, that we are going to call time boxes we are going to call. The small life cycles which we follow to implement the each sprint that we are going to call time boxes we are going to see. Now, if you observe the diagrammatically how it is, we have the some terminologies are different. When you go for the waterfall model, SWE model, other models with traditional SDLC models, we discussed about the business requirement specifications, functional requirement specifications, like that we are going to call. But here the terminologies are different. Instead of saying the user requirement specifications or functional requirement specifications, what we need to implement in application, that all the complete requirements we call as product backlogs we are going to call. These are called product backlogs. But all the requirements are not taken as once to implement. So some portion which are going to take, that is sprint planning. So some portion of the requirement which are taken, that we are going to call backlogs, sprint backlogs. Then there is a those sprint backlogs, they go for the sprint planning they do here. So that analysis, design, build, development, test, go for the review. So what is the duration? It is 1 to 2 weeks of time. That is in average 15 days. But every day there will be some meetings are going to be every day. There will be stand-up meetings we are going to call. There is a daily meetings, 15 days. Among these team members, Scrum team we are going to call. Among these Scrum team members. Okay. Then once 15 days completed, there is a shippable product available which we can deliver to the client like this. This is what the in simple agile software development approach is going to be like this. We have the product backlog. They take the sub few requirements, those we are going to call sprint backlog and sprint implementation by doing the analysis, design, build, test, review. So within 15 days of time, then there is a shapeable product implement. Like this, multiple sprints are going to be implemented. Okay. If I go for an example like this, everyone knows about the Notepad application, right? Notepad, if I go, Notepad or text file. Okay, Notepad or text file. If I ask that, what are the requirements or functionalities are there in the Notepad? Okay, text file also we can call text file. So here requirements are like this: file menu. Under this file menu, we have some child requirement, basic file menu options. Basic file menu options is new, open, save as, exit, like this. Those options we are going to call basic file menu options. Then 1.2, page setup and print. Then edit menu. In this again we have the child requirements. 2.1, basic edit menu options. 2.2, find and replace. Then format menu, a view menu, help menu. These are the requirements. Now here user says that I need one editor to write some content. Only plain text I want to write. For that, plain English text I want to write. For that, I need one screen. So there is a user story we are going to come. Based on that, they are going to design here. What are the requirements are there? This we are going to call product backlogs. User stories, I need one document to write the plain English. Based on the user story, based on that, we have to go for this one. Product detail they are going to define. And from this, they won't take, suppose, assume that this is module 1. Okay, this is module 2. Okay, module 3. This is all 3. I'm going to consider as a module 3. Okay, but here they won't take all the requirements, they won't take entire model. The model also not considering the agile methodology. They are going to take as a product backlogs. In the small requirements they are going to take. They will prioritize which is most important here first. This is the option. This one they are going to take, which they want to implement. That we are going to call sprint backlog. What is that here now? They take in basic file menu options and they go for the like previous which I said to you. Such a way they are going to that sprint backlog which I said. Okay, so that they are going to take that file menu, basic file menu, they implement. Next again, so it is basic 8 menu options implement. Like that, the approach is going to follow. Understand? This is the way. Next, what are the advantages we have when you go for the Agile Scrum methodology? Agile Scrum methodology will maximize team's ability to deliver quickly and respond to changing requirements. To maximize team's ability to deliver quickly and respond to changing requirements. There's a more dynamic case are this more suitable to handle. Second point, to develop functionality in smaller and stable increments. Smaller and stable increments, that is sprints. To have potentially deliverable product in shorter periods of time. Within 15 days, we have the deliverable, shippable product. We are going to say, no? That's what. Better visibility and communication. That means what developers are doing, what testers are doing. So these things are better visible because every day they are going to conduct stand-up meetings. So every person is accountable what they did in the previous day. So others are able to understand it. This advantage is there, better visibility. But disadvantage point of view, agile methodology, too much of documentation not required. It mainly focus on frequent delivery of the project. Frequent delivery of the project. Everything no need to go for the documentation which you need to get approved from the others. This type of things are not required. You have meetings, we discuss whatever idea you have, then you share with others. Immediately you are going to get approved, go for the implementation. That is the so documentation not available, not required for this. Much document, too much of documentation not required. We have some different terminologies in Agile Scrum methodology compared to the our traditional SDLC models like waterfall model, spiral model, V model like this. We have here altogether different terminologies we have. User stories, which are widely used Agile technique to capture product requirements. Product requirements are functionality. Product requirement are functionality. In Agile, the execution level requirement or functionality is called user story. I said earlier, for Notepad application, user story is I need one application to save plain text which I am going to write. That is the only requirement to save one plain text which I am going to write. I need one application. That is the Notepad. No drawings, other things are not required. Only plain text, plain English. I want to save. That is a notepad. Product backlogs means here what are the features are required in that. Detail with their content. That describe the detailed requirements which we need to implement in a product or system. Sprint backlogs, which requirements we need to implement in a current sprint. Current sprint. Now here, a Scrum team. Earlier, if you go for, there's a different teams are going to the development team, separate environment for the testers, separate environment for them. But when you go for the agile methodology, all together as a one team has to work here. That means developers, testers, all together is going to work as a one team here. That's Scrum team that protocol, which is a self-organized team. Self-organized the team is responsible to know that what to implement. If any problems are coming, how to overcome that, they can go for the solution for that. Like a self-organized team with few developers, test engineers, design architect, etc. Now here, the maximum Scrum team size is going to be 7 to 9 members. There can be multiple Scrum teams available for a project. There can be multiple Scrum teams, not one team. That is 7 to 9 members is not going to implement the whole system. Like this, multiple teams that are going to maintain. Okay. Now, one of the question interviews they are going to ask you, how many testers are there in your team? They are going to ask. But we are going to assume that when you see the resumes from who is working under V model like that, you are going to see that yes, my team size is going to be 8 or 12 members are there. But who is working really in the agile methodology? The team size, if you ask that, they says that 2 members. Or I'm the only the member in my team is going to say this. Because Scrum team is developers will be there, testers is there. But generally, as per the standards, the developers with test engineers is 3 is to 1 ratio they are going to maintain. For 3 developers, 1 test engineer is required. So what we said in the Scrum team, so developers, testers, design architect, size is 7 to 9. That means suppose you have the 5 developers are there, two maximum 2 testers that are going to maintain. The other one person can be a design architect like this. Okay. In our team, you can say that we are 2 members are there. You should not say that 10 members, 8 members. In agile methodology, if you are showing your experience, you should not show like that. Okay, you should not explain that 8 members, 10 members are there. In agile methodology, university, ought to have the 2 members, test engineers, like that. But here in Agile, before developing each backlog, they conduct stand-up meetings, that is called Scrum meetings, with a duration of 15 minutes. That's what we see here. Every day, the Scrum teams are for Scrum teams are design, build, test. Who is doing design architect, technical architect, build developers, test engineer. All together, the Scrum team are going to call. So daily they are going to conduct the meetings here. Okay. That's what before developing each backlog, they conduct stand-up meetings with the duration of 50. Daily meetings. Daily Scrum meetings are going to 60. Daily Scrum meetings. Then product owner. So product owner nothing but like a project manager is nothing but a project manager who have the vision what to develop in project, and that vision he is going to convey to the Scrum teams. Scrum Master, who will manage the process and also how the information is exchanged among the Scrum team members. This is going to monitor, manage these things. Then sprint retrospective meeting. See, these are the important terminologies, vocabulary in agile methodology should concentrate. Sprint retrospective meeting, which is performed at end of every sprint to learn with past experiences or situations. It will help to identify opportunities to improve the process. So how we can improve the process? Suppose here one project, so assume that one sprint we deliver to the customer, that means stakeholder. Now what will do? I'm going to discuss with my management. What are the problems we face with it? So where we got the problem, these things we are going to discuss. Based on we improve the next sprint implementation. For that sprint retrospective meeting we are going to call. Then sprint review. That is a demo to the stakeholder. Stakeholders client to get approval and gain funding for next sprint. Okay. Next one. So burn down and burn up charts. So burn up and burn down charts. So what is this? These are the charts are prepared by the Scrum Master in order to track the progress of Scrum project. In order to track the progress of Scrum project. So here burn down chart. It shows that how much work is remaining to be done in the project. How much it shows that how much work is remaining to be done in the project. Burn up chart. Now burn up chart says that burn up chart. But here is the point is missing. It shows that how much work has been completed and total amount of work. So here burn down chart shows that how much work is remaining to be done in the project. Burn up chart shows that how much work has been completed and the total amount of work. That says that burn up chart. Okay, burn up chart. How much work is completed and total amount of work. That is a burn up chart. Burn down chart is how much work is we need to implement the project. What is the use of this? To track the progress of Scrum project. The interview will ask how do you track the progress of the Agile or Scrum project? Means you can say use it bundle and burnout. So about this, we have the different approaches in Agile methodology. So, but I said that Agile Scrum. Everyone is saying Agile methodology. Actually, we are speaking about the Agile Scrum methodology. But in Agile, again, still we have the different kind of approaches. That is the Agile methodology. Here we have. One is Scrum is there, which is more popular one. Then Crystal methodologies is there. These are the different kind of approaches. Dynamic software development method, feature driven development FDD, lean software development. So extreme program. So the other approach also is there, but more popular one is Scrum. Majority of the companies are going to follow the Scrum. That's what which I explained to you in simple way. Okay. Hope you understand it. Okay. Try to remember the all the vocabulary and agile methodology. So very important question interview point of view. Explain agile methodology as a developer or test engineer. Okay. So thank you. So in next session, we are going to discuss about the software testing methodologies. Okay. Thank you. Bye.